This is the Race Communiqué with Luke Durbridge, Tom Southam, and me, Mitch Docker. Brought to you exclusively by TrainingPeaks and our friends at MAP.
There we go, boys. Southam.
Boys,
How are you?
cooking. It's like the hottest day on earth in Bristol. It's 34 degrees in the UK.
Oh, that is hot. Yeah.
It's
Whoa.
melting. It's melting.
It's
Yeah,
like one
yeah,
of those places. I remember in Belgium when I was living there, like it's weird, like 30, low 30s feels like the hottest day ever because it's not made for heat. Like I remember people just like going in the water fountain, just like, oh, screw it. I just need to cool.
Yeah.
There's like triple insulation in the house as well. So
That's the thing. The houses just aren't cut out for it. There's no aircon. Like it's all brick. It's like, I was upstairs. I was going to do the podcast from upstairs. I'm like, nah, it's way too hot in the top of the house. Got to go downstairs.
I can't get my head around summer at the moment. I'm just getting in on the whole end of autumn. Got that beautiful light. Crack the fire at about 3 in the arvo. Build it up.
Nice.
Chop some firewood. It's golden time back here in Oz.
Get out of bed again and go and commentate on the Giro at 2 a.m. That sort of beautiful autumn evening, you know. Drive to Melbourne, goes to the studio.
Call Durbo on the way home.
Yeah, call me on the way home. How you going, mate? Must be late there.
3 o'clock. Durbo, welcome. How are you?
Hey. Yeah, good. Summer is here as well.
You at camp?
No, well, yes, there is a camp on, but I'm down low. The boys are staying up top. So I don't go to altitude, which is nice. I get to stay at home, but I just drive up in the morning, start training with the boys, and then drive home. So, yeah, it's quite good. Yeah, like they're up on top of Magnier, so they're at 2,400. So it's quite good because, you know, every time we catch up for training, I just half wheel them because I'm staying down at sea level.
Where is it?
Magnier is a new altitude training camp right on the top, Mitch, and past Bordes.
Oh, so past the Lacasse.
Yeah, but it's not. It's like right on the top.
Oh, yeah, that hotel there.
Yeah, the hotel. They've done a reno recently, probably the last couple of years, and it's like pumping with cyclists now. Like it's they've done like full reno on the rooms. Apparently the food's pretty good. And I heard the rumor is that I heard Rodriguez Burrito's building an altitude hotel at the very, very top, like even further up, like might be like 2,500 meters or something.
Chairlift up.
Well, you know, there's the road. There's a tiny little road that goes up like from that hotel that turns to gravel.
Oh, it does it?
Yeah.
So we're going to get that tarred.
It's already tarred. So
since I've been
Did it himself.
Did
it himself.
He did tar it. Yep, he did tar it himself. Yeah, no,
That's
pretty impressive. I mean, he's been retired a while now, so brick by brick. You know, 7 years later, he's got there.
Smoking a cigarello, no
doubt. Smoking those tiny little burritos. Yeah.
All right, boys. All right. Let's introduce the show. This is the Race Communiqué. Welcome. Of course, this is Life in the Peloton brought to you by MAP, but exclusively our partner is at the Race Communiqué, TrainingPeaks. And Durbo, you just set it up really nicely because May is where fitness gets tested. You build the base, the race season is underway, and athletes begin pushing close to their limits. This weekend coming is Unbound. Last weekend was 7 gravel, so that's going to be where the worlds were. They tested it out last weekend here in Australia. Devil's Cardigan, the Australian Championships are coming up in a few weeks. On the gravel side of things, the Giro, of course, is up and away. So it's well and truly racing season wherever you are in the world. And unlocking your potential together with TrainingPeaks. TrainingPeaks is the complete training platform. We've spoken about this before, built for dedicated athletes, and unlock your potential with an expert coach or a training plan designed by an expert coach. You get real-time feedback, real-life feedback. That's what it is when your coach is all over your training hub. And that is what TrainingPeaks is really built on. That's what we got to experience. Well, I got to experience personally throughout my whole career. I think it's the platform's greatest asset is that you've got this hub, your data's there, your trainer's coming into it, you're putting your comments into it. It's all meshed in one place. It doesn't get lost, and it's a beautiful little piece of history, really, for my career. Durbo, you've mentioned that it's going to be coming with you. I'm actually a little bit afraid about losing that. I don't know why, but I just sort of feel like
I think you can request it. You can request it, and they just send it to you, and then you just put it on a massive hard drive.
Yeah, but then what do you do with it?
I don't know.
Like,
You
if
just
it's not
leave it in
on
a
that-
cupboard
not
until
on-
eventually computers don't work anymore, and then you never see it. It's like a wedding video. It's like,
Look
how
at
many
those
times you
old
watch that one?
iPhones.
Yeah, but at least you
Yeah.
can watch the wedding video. Like, what are you doing with all the?
Have you though?
I didn't get one. I already foresaw that. I was like, oh, we don't need that. Did you get a wedding video?
I think I did, but I've watched that. Man.
No.
I did get one. But
Oh
yeah, my
my
training peaks, I don't know, mate. But like, I have room with Ben Wiggins, Brad Wiggins' son, and he has access to Brad's training peaks, and he's just like, I'm like, go on. I was like rooming with him at one time at Tour of Hungary. He's in our Devo
You
team,
guys
and I was
geek
like,
out on it.
I'm like, come on, let's give me some Olympic time trial numbers. So we just jumped on training
yeah.
peaks, and we're just like highlighting his Olympic TT. You know, it's like, oh, look at those waddies, you know? So in that sense, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm not sure I'm going to go back and highlight my own, but like, you know, jumping on Brad Wiggins' training peaks, that's pretty cool.
He should open it up. He should open it up as like a museum.
Yeah.
I did Training Peaks membership. You get to go in on to like archival races from ex-pros. How cool would that be?
That would actually be quite cool. Like, a little
Training
art
Peaks
gallery.
museum.
Yeah, Training Peaks Museum. You get like your self-guided tour. It's like, in this room, you have Indurain's, Vontu attempt. You know?
Yeah. That would be so good.
That would actually
It probably a little bit dates Indurain. Indurain dates Training Peaks, unfortunately, but
maybe.
He was 89 kilos when he won this mountain stage for the Tour de France.
Maybe we went back too far.
Big fat 90s arms, you know?
I don't think he was using.
This is the
SRM.
crazy 8 room, the 8 watts per kilo room. Welcome. Something for Training Peaks to think about, you know?
Well, boys,
Yeah.
look, as I mentioned before, performance isn't just about how fit you are, but how well you can handle stress, extend durability, and make decisions when fatigue is high and conditions are unpredictable. It's a combination of training data analyzed and planned by an expert coach is how you're able to combat these stresses. We've said it before, get over to trainingpeaks.com/LITP to get a further 20% off your premium subscription because guess what? It's happening. Southam and I, we're dueling. We're going on Training Peaks virtual with everyone. Come along. It's happening next Tuesday, the 2nd of June. We are going head-to-head on Training Peaks virtual with you guys. So look out for this in the show notes. We'll be dropping the link that you guys can come and join up. You can see how fit we really are. You can have a chat. You can test it out. Sign up to the premium subscription because that is all included in premium subscription. So, boys, Southam, I hope you're ready.
I'm ready. As long as it's under 2 hours 45, which obviously it's not going to be, then I've got you.
It's a big ergo session, eh? If you guys are just dumping 2 hours 45, that's solid.
No, it'll be a nice little hour of power.
Oh,
hanging. Yeah. Boys, just before we get to the episode, I've got another little plug I would like to do. Holy Week, the documentary that Life in the Peloton has put together. We're in the business of making documentaries these days, and presented by the major partner Laser. We were over in Belgium drinking beers, filming and watching races. We're going to be screening those 3 live screenings. 18th of June at Bridge Road Brewers in Brunswick. We're going to the Heaps Normal Health Club in Sydney on the 24th of June. And we're going to be down at the Blackman's Brewery in Geelong. Hendry's are putting on a screening for us on the 26th of June. And after that, we're going to release it to the world. But if you want to come and have a Belgian beer, maybe chomp down on some Fritz and hear some stories about how it was done, the doco is coming to you very, very soon. That's coming in a couple of weeks. Boys, you
exciting.
Scared? It is.
I'm pretty G. Can you send me a little? Am I on it?
You are. Yep.
Yeah,
You're on it. You're in it. Yes. So
is Southern?
No, I'm not
No.
there, mate.
I know. I just want you to say that. Perfect. I'm in it. So it's just
Yeah,
it's just the first thing that me and Mitch have, rather than you two having your private meetings. You know, like
Here
It
we
was
go.
actually- we met-
Durbo's getting ready to slide himself in, moving back to Oz.
Yeah. Oh, we wrote a book together. Yeah.
It's all going to be.
well, we made a doco together, so Durbo. All right, boys. Well, look, I have been actually working, believe it or not, the last few weeks. I've been commentating the Giro, as Durbo likes to call it. the Giro.
While I drink my
d'Italia.
Belgian beer from the bottle.
It has been up and running. I hope everyone's been watching it the last couple of weeks. It's been awesome. I thought it was being really good. Southam, maybe you might disagree. I don't know. Durbo, I don't know how much you guys have been watching. But I thought, look, we're 2 weeks in. We're recording this on the rest day. So this will be coming out to you a day after that. So there will be a stage in between that we will miss. But I thought, well, let's recap the first 2 weeks. And we'll just sort of put our little tidbits along the way. Boys, if you remember, the first 3 stages were in Bulgaria. Stage 1 was won by Paul Magnier. His first Grand Tour stage win for, and also obviously for Lotto Soudal. And he pulled on the pink jersey. He was in front of Lund Andersen. There was a big crash in that final there. So it sort of buggered the sprint up. Groenewegen was caught in it. What could not be? And, there was all these questions asked about Milan. Maybe he was caught up in the sprint. He lost his lead out man. But actually, we found out 2 days later that Magnier was faster than him. But in between that, stage 2, I almost missed this, was a chaotic finish as well. There was a crash. A lot of the UAE boys went down. Adam Yates, if you remember, cut his face open. He had blood on his face. He had mud on his face. Huge crash, really wet roads, and they neutralized the stage. They dropped the flag at the bottom of the last climb, a 3K berg, really steep. Jonas took off and went over a small group. And then in the finish, we saw Guillermo Silva from Uruguay, from XDS Astana, take the win and the Mugler Rosa. It was a pretty crazy finish, like all the crashes and everything. But then we saw Vingegaard, Pellizzari, Van Edveld off the front, looking at each other. Then all of a sudden the group comes together and Silva took the stage win, wrapped to get the pink jersey. It was a crazy start to the race. The final day, of course, was when we saw Magnier take the stage back ahead of Milan. And it was this bumpy finish. They finished on the cobblestones there. And for me, that there was the first opening that maybe Trek don't have it right here. I was thinking, okay, there's a bit of a kink in the armor here. What's going on here? Because, normal lead-out man, Consoni wasn't doing the last job. They had, of course, Welshide. Welshide was doing the lead-out. Was it not right? Was he? What was going on there? And then Groenewegen coming late. The lead-out from Univac Rockets, they were on fire. They were the most organised team. So the first 3 stages in Bulgaria, a real mixed bag. But it really, for me, for an away start, I didn't mind it. I have to admit, I didn't mind it because there was something in it. They did pretty well with the stages, I thought. Any comments on those first 3 stages, boys?
Yeah. I think you always get it's pretty interesting list of winners. Like it's not who you would have expected at all. Obviously influenced by the crash. I mean, there's always crashes in the first week in the first few days of a Grand Tour. I think that's a given, no matter what you do. Finishing on cobbles, not so sure about for a sprint, honestly. I think we saw the same, like stage 6, I thought was just diabolical finish, So, yeah, I was a bit 50-50, honestly. But, Magnier as well, like against Milan, it's just such a weird matchup because he doesn't look like a sprinter. And I have this problem with him all the time. He looks like, who he reminds me of physically is Kenny Van Hummel. A sprinter who doesn't have the physicality, he's quite tall and quite skinny.
Merlier's the same though.
Merlier's a bit more solid, no?
Merlier doesn't look like a sprinter at all. He's got no definition in his legs. He's sort of lanky looking. No, but serious,
fully lay on him.
No, but he's he's the fastest guy in the world for sure, I think. But he's yeah.
Okay, well let's talk about him. Let's go on. We're only at stage 4. They get back to Italy. This should have been my first pause point. Stage 4 was crazy. Movistar, go at it. I love this.
I was texting Whitey in the car because I thought I had this Whitey feel about it, and I didn't know he was at the Giro. And then when the Movistar took it up and just started ripping it, I just texted him and messaged him. I'm like, "You're at the Giro, aren't you?" And he goes, "Yeah, mate." And he goes, yeah, mate, we ain't here to fuck spiders or something like that. And I was just like, oh, I love that. The whole team comes to the front and just destroys his climb. And I'm thinking,
No, wait.
like,
You think the whole team come to the front, right? So Ivan Garcia Cortina, he comes to the front. So Malessi's riding. Lorenzo Malessi, fully not aware of this guy.
Strong as.
I'm like, oh yeah, who's this Malessi guy? Does his turn. Then Cortina comes on top of him, rips him a new one. Malessi then does like the next 9K of the climb. And at any moment, you would have thought he was done. The expression on his face, you're like, oh wow, he did another K. Oh wow, he does another K. Gets them to the top, 20 guys left in the bunch. It's outrageous.
Bernal's dropped.
Bernal's dropped.
Yeah.
I'm like, who the hell's this Malessi guy? It's ridiculous. But then they've got...
Lazy.
Is it Malesi? Yeah, Malesi.
Malesi.
Lorenzi Malesi. And then from the top of there, they come over the top. They've still got 40K to go. It's just ridiculous that they can still keep it going from there. They come into the sprint. Of course, they were turning out for their Venezuelan sprinter, Ular. But Navarez...
They nearly got it wrong, though, to be fair. Like, they were pretty short-handed in the final. Like, in the final, they were like... I was like, when Jan Christian went, it's like, you boys are in... You boys are in trouble.
Well, Mass is something that he... Yeah. Well, that was also an amazing ride too, was by Sombrero. Sombrero already dropped back off the back. Who did he drop off to get? Oh, he went off to get G. He went back to get G. Gets him back on, then he closes the gap. So look, a crazy stage. We see that Jonathan Narvaez, he shows that, okay, that massive gap doesn't bother him. Obviously, we know now what's happened. But in that moment there, you're like, oh, okay, wow, he was able to get a bunch sprint. Wow. We soon know that, he was picking his nose at that moment. Stage 5, it just keeps going on. Absolute crazy day, raining, epic, 203K, 3,700 meters of climbing. No real major climbs, but I mean, like the bunch is just going crazy. Bonkers, 20 guys in the front plus a breakaway. So, all the guys in the break are strong. At the end, we see 2 riders chip off, Alfonso Eulalio and also the Bahrain victorious rider, and also Igor Arrieta, UAE. Those 2 guys chip off.
This was stupid.
This was outrageous, this finish. You cannot believe this.
It's just
first of all,
joke. Yeah.
Arrieta crashes. So Eulalio sort of waits, and then they come back together. And then like Eulalio, he crashes. So then you're like, oh, okay, well it's sort of even now. They both crash. Arrieta goes the wrong way. 2K to go. So Eulalio, he just goes. He's like, oh, I've got it now. I'm going to go for it. Then you see this little like glimmer of hope. You're like, oh, could Arrieta maybe get him? Maybe. Oh no, it's okay to go. Hang on.
He nearly bins it trying to get out of his saddle. Remember, he went the wrong way. Tries to get over the top. Back wheel spins. Like, it was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Crazy. So look, in the end of it, Arrieta wins. First Grand Tour win for him. UAE suddenly lose 3 riders 2 days ago. They win 2 stages now. Alfonso Eulalio, he then takes the Pinks jersey. Everyone's like, wow, great. He's got the pink jersey for a day or 2. But from there, this is the surprise of the race. Defends the pink much longer than anyone expected. Follows Vingegaard closely. He's even launching attacks coming to the finish. He grabs seconds in the Red Bull Intermediate. He's just turning into a new man. If I said in the commentary, Phil Liggett used to always say about like Tommy Volklar and things like that. Oh, he's got the golden fleece on, gives him extra wings and that sort of thing. It literally gave him extra wings. He was racing like a new man.
Mm-hmm.
On the next note, Vingegaard, he goes on. Once the road starts going up, he starts to dominate. Blockhouse, he shows that he's the strongest rider. But for me, there was a little bit, I didn't think he dominated enough for him. I just thought he was going to ride away with it. And I actually thought, for me, the rider of the day there was Felix Gall. The gap was created. He rode him back to about 12 seconds and went across there. And I think, Vingegaard he wasn't like cruising in or anything. He was still going for it. So it's like, oh, hang on, there's a bit of a hope here. They go then into the long TT, And for there, he was showing some signs of weakness because even 3 other GC riders, O'Connor, G, and Aaronsman, all beat him in the long TT. I know it's not his thing, but I assumed he would have been at least on par with, G and O'Connor on a long TT. But yeah, I could be wrong. Boys, is there anything that you know about the TT side of things more than I do? Garner obviously won that stage. I don't know if we need to go into that, but a 42K flat TT, were you surprised to see where Jonas was?
I think it's indisputable. It was below par. Like if you go back through his previous flat TTs, I don't think he was going as fast as he could. There's obviously been reports about some sickness, like kicking around. For me, though, like coming from my perspective, stage 5 and stage 7 completely changed the dynamics of the second week in terms of, because the race wasn't done, because Vingegaard hadn't extended a big lead, it meant there was going to be less opportunities for breaks. It would get less space. Bahrain would try harder to keep the jersey. So it's an interesting thing that like teams were basically waiting for Jonas to deliver the killer blow on Blockhouse. And it's like, okay, then it's breakaway. Like, basically you're going to get
next 2 weeks,
2 weeks of breakaways. But instead, the dynamics of the way the race worked meant that it was going to be a bit closer, which has led obviously to Jonas winning 2 more stages, which he may not have. I think the last one he won, they obviously targeted from the morning and they're going to pull. But I think in between, there was another one that he took, which had the race been sewn up, might have been a very different race that day. And then you've got a breakaway and the best climber in it basically goes to the top and wins, and behind there's a bunch of whatever. So that was a takeaway from me, obviously with a bit of a lens, knowing what our team's doing at the race, going for breakaways and having an interest in that. I was like, oh, fuck. With the race situation as it was, it takes away one of few chances for guys, So
I think about with the TT, it's from my side of things, Jonas is a little bit vulnerable when it comes to those flat ones, because in the tour he also had like last year was a flat TT, and we had a shocker, and it was like everyone was talking about how Jonas, and he was a bit surprised that he was like going head to head with Poggy in the first week, and then they came to the time trial, and it was just like Jonas was terrible. And then also the flat TT in the Giro, also not so good. So we think about the TTs that he has done, that he's dominated, they have all had like proper climbs in it. Like obviously we all think about the Tour de France TT where he just absolutely destroyed everyone. That was just two climbs on a TT bike. So
by the way, on the downhill, like an absolute.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the most impressive TTs I've seen, but it was uphill. So I think that's something that obviously Jonas needs to look at. Yeah.
There's one thing about him, the power to weight going uphill, but there was a question around the change in position, that the uphill gives him an advantage because it's not just that full glute seated power that, you're riding along flat for so long, but like actually the change in terrain suits him, whether it's the power to weight, obviously going uphill, but the downhill doesn't suit him, but it's the change in terrain that gives him power, that allows him to maneuver differently on the bike. It's something I hadn't considered, that the bigger guys who have got that seated power and, potentially from a track background, I don't know if you can even use that anymore, but, it is being in that position for an hour on a flat road where you're not even really turning. It was dead straight.
But it's crazy to think that someone like Jumbo isn't training that. You know what I mean? Like, it is crazy to think that they're not seeing that as a potential 40K flat TT in the Giro. Like, let's go and work on that,
maybe there's some, like, also you don't want to compromise something else, right? Because there's only X amount of time in that TT and there's so many mountain stages.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, good point.
I think even on Blockhouse, if you compare that to, like, it looked like he was doing bad, but if you look at him on the last finish he won, he was on the one by again, like for a 4,000 meter mountain stage. And I just think that particular gradient, which he can use the one by on, he's just at his absolute best, as opposed to Blockhouse, which is a bit steeper.
Well, there's a lot of win on Blockhouse. Yeah,
spoken to a few of the boys. I like Ben. Obviously, I spoke to Ben O'Connor about the Blockhouse, and like they were all PBing numbers, like him, Jai, a few of those guys. So if you think like Felix Gold's obviously done probably, I would presume, his best power either. So it's pretty hard for us, pretty difficult for Jonas, for example, to like, he also potentially has done his best ride. He's obviously won the stage, but we sort of hold Poggy and Vingegaard up this high that they'd have to like win by like a minute or so. But every now and then, like Felix Gold and these guys, like they're not far behind, but they've had their best ride ever. You know what I'm saying? Like it's pretty hard. Yeah, it's 12 seconds, but like on their day, you know, Felix and like Jai and all those guys, they can be with these boys, but it's probably like few and far between where these guys just do it day after day.
Stage 11, UAE Navarez, he goes back again for his third win. He beat Movistar's entering Mars. This was quite funny coming into the
good stage.
It was a great
stage. I enjoyed the finish because of like the tactical jeopardy that Mas was in, and it's like
I'd love to hear your opinion on this. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Are you going to pull and get second? Because he's going to get second, like guaranteed. Or do you like play the game and then potentially come 8th or 6th?
Yeah, but he was never going to come 8th. There was only 2 guys behind him. He could have come 4th.
Yeah.
So that was the choice for him. He could have played it and played the bluff and then sat on. But Navarez would have ridden, and he still would have won, and he still would have got second.
I know. I don't think Navarez would have ridden. I don't think he would have at all. No, there's no way. So in his interview in the morning, he's like, "I'm going to play poker today," and you even saw he did less than Mas. He did less, and he was less.
Yeah, but the thing is, he knew Mas. He knew Mas was just so inexperienced at that situation, and he wanted second so bad. He could just feel it.
Yeah, but then I mean, the difference in UCI points is pretty big between second and fourth, right? So if you boil it down to the pure numbers of the thing, like, okay, we're in a situation. I even
think he could have played. He still could have got second, but he could have played that last climb better. Could have let him sit in till that last climb, and he could have given a better dig. But he was working, and he rode him like he's trying to ride him out. Exactly,
it's attack from the front. I mean, it's like okay, well, that's not even a real attack if you're going from the front out of two riders. I think that he was in a rock and a hard place. I can see why he rode. He, on paper, it wasn't the best thing to do. I don't think for winning the stage, because if they come back, you have a chance to get a gap and then look at each other, because they're then with Narvaez, who's still faster than Ulisi and whoever else. So. Certainly, like sit on, let Narvaez do the whole downhill, which he did, and then they were coming back, so they were actually going faster from the downhill with chasers. But then the next little uphill, make Narvaez do that, and then go from behind one time, and then sit on again, and let them come back, and then go again. I mean, that's how you win, right?
Totally. And I can imagine if he was in that position more times, and he didn't feel the pressure of performing this one chance that he ever got, he would have done that.
Especially when he's been thrown under the bus by his manager about how he's underperforming, extreme underperformance from Enric Mas. So sort of if that's in the back of your mind, you're sort of a little bit more desperate.
Chapeau to him. The next day, he was all in when Movistar tried to do the full pull again, and Mas was ripping. He was great. He was the ultimate teammate that day. But just back on the stage 11, the biggest benefit out of stage 11, one of the biggest benefits, apart from Narvaez winning 3 stages in a Grand Tour, was Chris Harper pops himself into the top 10. All of a sudden, we've got 4 Aussies in the top 10. Like, this is pretty ridiculous. We've got O'Connor, Hindley, Storer, and Harper in the top 10.
They should definitely start the Giro in Perth after this. Sure. All right, it's such a good idea.
3 Perth boys in the top 10 of the Giro d'Italia.
Potentially my favourite moment of the whole Giro so far, apart from all those other great moments I've mentioned, was Alex Segard's 3K to go attack from Bahrain, where Victor Campenards is riding tempo on the front, sees him go and just goes, I don't need to chase that. And then the best bit at the end is he comes up to him at the end, goes, well done, mate. And like, he didn't block, but like he just didn't chase. You know what I mean?
It's like it's like a false sense of security for everyone else because like, oh, Visma are pulling, and Kagmar's like, yeah,
It doesn't
give a shit.
Like he's still going to
That
pull.
looks
He's not going
hard.
to accelerate. It was so good. It's like this is just the essence of Bahrain in this team, like in this Giro. Like they weren't just trying to hang on to the pink jersey. The way Eulabio was racing for it, trying to get chip off, and then like he lifted and followed, but then also, the fact that Sagard he's going on the attack as well.
It's also like Campanart recognized game. He's just like, that's something Campanart would have done if he wasn't like a domestique. Like if he was just in Lotto, just going after stages, like that would have been a move he would have done 100%. So he kind of just sees like, yeah, man, that's the move. That's you go, boy.
One corner at 3K to go. He'd already planned it out like the night before. He's like, oh yeah, that's
I saw the interview. That's pretty cool.
You could see it coming. You could see it coming from like a mile away on the TV. It's this guy's just going to go. And it's too late by then.
I mean, he's done it in like 5 races now. I mean, Groenewegen when he rode across to Van der Poel and Van Aert. He just fucking
that was in Warringam. Yeah,
that was in Wevelgem.
I thought it was in Dwarstor.
No, it was in
the problem that people made there, or other teams made, or the mistake other teams made is like, if you want to win it with a sprinter, you got to be prepared to then send someone in a similar attack to him, and then force the other sprint teams to chase it down. Because the sprint teams with like 2 or 3 riders were basically like, okay, let's pull, and they all got tired. Ourselves included. And like, you imagine if you sent Valgren there instead of pulling, it has the same effect potentially that someone closes it and it's a sprint, or you have one in front.
Yeah, you win the stage with Valgren. Yeah, no, that's true. Because you guys, it's a much more positive way of doing it, because if it, like, even for example yesterday is like was crazy to think that like guys have this like set lead out plan. And it's funny when it all started to turn, and there was a slight moment of hesitation yesterday in the stage where the lead-out guy realised, I'm actually going to have to work now. And there was a pause. But if they had gone like, actually, if I don't work now, then we're not going to have a
sprint. Yeah. But it's a game of bluff. Every team wants everyone else to use their lead-out men first. And then there comes a point where it's like, oh, well, we're all going to have to commit. But at that moment, it's already too late. Just to finish this off, a couple stages to go. Stage 14 was that epic stage you guys were talking about, 130K for just over 4,000 meters of climbing. By this point, I'm out of the com box, so I'm pretty much knowing as everyone else what they know. I saw the highlights, but from what I saw is that Visma were ripping it apart. And so what you guys mentioned before is that they went in with a mission here, and this is where we saw Visma lease a bike sort of take control of the race, and Jonas sort of stamp his foot on and look like he's got really a lot of control in the race. Eulabio lost the jersey. He's in second still now. And look, Felix Goal was looking really good. He was in second place, in the stage, and Jai Hindley was in third, looking really strong, showing that's why he is got a Giro title to his name, because he gets good. He's good in Grand Tours, and he loves this race. There's something about the craziness of this race that suits Hindley. He bloody loves the Italian race. And of course, the stage yesterday, which had, I guess a bit of drama in it, like the breakaway held it off. And this is cool to see. We saw the Norwegian rider, Frederick Drevenes, I think that's how you pronounce it. He held him off to get Malesi. I think it's the second. Is it the second stage win, Grand Tour stage win for Uno X? I could be wrong there. I should look
that one stage of the tour.
Yeah, that's it. That one and this. Is that right?
First Euro stage.
Yeah, nice. But in that sprint afterwards, there was a DQ for one of your teammates, Durbo, Bob Donaldson. He got taken out and looked like, I thought it was in the sprint initially, but it was after the sprint by Enrico Zonicello from Bardiani. He was DQ'd. So, Durbs, have you got any inside word on that, or what is the situation there?
No, from what I saw, I mean, I spoke to Bob just to see if he was all right, because it looked like a pretty nasty one. It looks looks slower obviously when they do the slow-mo, but they're doing a full-on lead-out speed. So he's come down pretty fast. And then you could see him sort of, holding his head just to make sure he doesn't get smoked from behind. I think that's probably the scariest thing as a lead-out guy coming back through the group. And he said he sort of kept the pedal, kept the pressure on the pedal so he wasn't coming back super quick. But it looks like there's a squeeze. The guys who's headbutted him, from what I looked like he's actually got squeezed as well. Like it hasn't been an obvious, there's Bob, get out of my way move. It's sort of like, I think he's actually pulling his front wheel back and then his head has gone over like that, which Bob's arm is like he's done his lead out and he just knocked his arm and then Bob just come down. So it all happened pretty quick and Bob's okay. And Bob's sort of saying it's a bit of a racing incident. So I don't think he is told too many grudges or anything like that. But obviously the decision is the decision what they do. But obviously they're just trying to make everything a bit safer. Obviously you can't be throwing your head around in the bunch. But don't know if it's as clear-cut, blatant as potentially they've seen it.
I think the jury is generally super reactionary to bad images.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there is no consideration in that as to what was actually happening. It's it looks, if you see it on YouTube, just that clip, it looks dreadful. But with a bit of context, it can be a completely different thing. And this happens quite often,
We had it in Tour of Hungary where there was a crosswind section and Plappy last week went into the crosswind and he's got pushed by the wind and he's trying to close the door in the crosswind. That's a crosswind racing situation. But obviously he gets knocked down the line and next minute the yellow jersey's on the ground. And there was a discussion about I hope he's going to be okay. And I'm like, what do you mean hope he's going to be okay? It's crosswind. And because he's in the yellow jersey, they're filming on the yellow jersey. He's just Luke Plapp's gone across the road. I'm like, Plappy's done absolutely nothing wrong there. The wind was 60 or 70 kilometers an hour, and he's closed the door like a proper racing situation.
Well, no one came through for him, so he did his turn. Yeah. No one came through, so he's like, right, I'm going to dive back in the gutter and I'm going to spit it again.
Going. Yeah, exactly. So, and the same thing with Matthews in Tour of Flanders. If you look at the aerial, he's actually done absolutely nothing wrong there. No one is even, Niels Pollitt didn't even complain. If you really look at the aerial, Niels Pollitt isn't even close to Matthews. But because if you look front on, they've gone, Matthews has moved and changed his line. Next minute, they've disqualified him from podium in Tour of Flanders. Like you said, Tom, because it's just literally what it looks like on TV. Going that looks dangerous.
Or in
but
the moment.
Go and check it. Go and check it. Go and check, ask, have an interview, see the guy who came down, see the guy who got flicked. Is there any issue here? No. Okay, well, we may carry on then. But they don't do that. They're just bang.
Well, they probably don't have time, to be fair, to go around and do interviews and hold a court case and get the lawyers in and, all that sort of stuff, Durbo. Don't know if they're going to, as good as that idea is.
Just if you just ask one person who got affected.
Yeah. That jumps out to me about the fact that nobody's spoken to Bob, right? So
exactly.
Nothing. To the main guy who was knocked off his bike.
Yeah. Here's the video, Bob. Do you see something wrong with that? Bob's like, oh no, it's a racing incident. Okay, cool. Move on.
That's not me. I wasn't there.
Tribunal. They need a tribunal after every stage, just like the AFL. Bring him in. Quick one, boys. Just a couple quick questions. We quickly discussed it at the start. Trek, Milan, Sturven moving on from that lead-out train. What's not working? Because on my other side, one of my standouts from the whole Giro has been the Unibet Rose Rockets lead-out. I know they haven't been able to capitalise on it, but I'm so impressed how organised they've been. No other team has been as organised as them from 5K out. They look strong. I don't even know half those guys. And they're just they're riding everyone. They're controlling it. Of course, they've got the great Marcel Kittel back in the car steering the ship. But, Milan, he's off. He's way off. And considering where he's been in the last 3 Grand Tours, points jersey winner, multiple stage wins,
what's... Are you deliberately teeing up my segment here, Mitch? Or are you trying to piss all over it?
Well, I've got one thing to add with this is that the Rose Rockets thing is Elmar Reinders, hands down the guy. He's turning himself into probably one of the best lead out guys in the world. Both Elmar and Dylan, obviously my teammates for a very long time, like 4 or 5 years in Greenwich. And Dylan has obviously stepped up again from last year, winning races left, right, and centre this year. I spoke to Elmar quite a bit. He said they literally now their race program is really tailored towards just going to races that are going to be 100% sprints. So leading into the Giro, Dylan had done 10 race days. Like not much at all. They literally go to races that they're fresher. They only go to races that are going to be purely sprints, and then they get prepared for these big. So with the small Pro Continental team, they're not necessarily over raced. Like Dylan would be doing Paris-Nice in our team, Torino. So there's a little bit of fatigue. But Elmar and Dylan, they've got this system now. He said Marcel's incredible as well. He said that Marcel sits down, they've got incredible analysis. They all camera up because obviously that's part of their whole MO is to have this content. So they've all got, GoPros on the back of their bikes so they can see what's actually happening in the lead out. Now, they're rather than using it as like a promotion, they're like, okay, are you losing the wheel? Are you holding the wheel? Should have gone the gap here. How are we communicating? So they're really gone, and anything aerodynamics, they've just gone out and got it. So yeah, I think Elmar's probably their main guy in terms of the captain and leading Dylan. Dylan's not a very vocal sprinter, super professional, but not very vocal. But I would say a lot of it's coming from Elmar, and he just said like all the young guys are just super G'd for it, and he's guiding them through that. So you can see they're doing a really good job.
Okay, well, with risk of touching on Southam, let's leave that alone. If we haven't already destroyed it, let's quickly wrap up what we've got to look forward to. The weekend is coming, and look, I'm only really going to speak about stage 19. Boom, it's 151k Dolomite stage, but it's all short climbs in the Dolomites. It's short for the Dolomites. I mean, it's not like a massive long stage that they normally do. But it's almost 5,000 meters of climbing, 5 categorized climb. They're going Passo Giao, which is the Chima copy. They're hitting almost 2,300 meters on that climb. And the last climb is only 5K, but it averages 10% the whole way there. So look, it's a big GC day, typical Giro day, stage 19. Stage 20 is a short day with 2 15K Cat 1s. So it's not like bang, bang, massive, big climbing days. And then, of course, stage 21, the Rome stage, massive transfer after 700k transfer. The question is really, how do they wrestle it off Visva now, boys? Is there any way they can wrestle it back?
150k stage with all those climbs in, it's actually really difficult for a break to go anywhere. It's just too short, not enough space. So Vingegaard will win that one. I mean, he's the best. So
stage 20, 200k stage, 2 15k climbs in the back end of the stage. It's a hilltop finish, 15k climb, 2 Cat 1s at 10%.
Giulio Ciccone.
Oh, yeah. Yep, probably.
Nice.
I mean, this race for the podium, I think. Sorry. It's like Jonas is going to win. It's going to be but then just the podium is going to be really hotly contested. We got 2 minutes 20, 2 minutes 50, 3 minutes, 3 minutes 40, 4:20, 4:40. Like it's really not that much between those guys to go for the podium.
Keep going back. What's the next one?
It was top 10. So we're talking about, we're talking 2 minutes decides second to like close to 10th. You know what I mean? It's not that much.
Quick special mention before I wrap up my segment. The Pithinator. Lawrence Pithy. Have you seen this?
Did you guys watch Dunkirk? Great race.
I
didn't watch it, but I've heard he's doing pretty good though.
They're running the Magla Rosa there.
It was much. They've done it forever. Like I watched that over the Giro, and it was such good racing, especially for young cyclists, because it's actually tactical. Like Pitty ran out of riders every day. every day he ran out of riders and he was in a situation as to like, he was the strongest. He had to close gaps, but he had to wait and to not expose himself to close those gaps. So you had to do it either on cobbles or he did it on the Mont Cassel. And you had to keep pacing. So on the Mont Cassel stage, you had to keep pacing, keep enough speed in the group with Liam Schlock, who's 15 seconds down or 10 seconds down, 20 seconds in front, that he could then do a hard final climb to close the gap himself. And he had no teammates for 20K. It was such good racing. It was brilliant. It was really good.
Took a stage win, and then like it was different stage winners every day, and still held on to the GC. Like every day, second place was like 2 seconds behind him. I just was watching the results because Pithy, big friend of the pod, so massive shout out to the Pithinator.
Did an amazing job. Alone because the stages were like all hard. Like, I had one stage that went over a cobble sector from Roubaix like 6 or 7 times, these laps. And there was like flat tires everywhere. And he was always, so there was a group in front of like major threats. Actually, Marijn was in Vandenberg, but he flatted. And they were hanging just in front, but nobody could ever close it. And it would come back on the cobbles to within meters. But then the second group would stop. Pithy would look around. Nobody wanted to help him. And this first group would go back out again.
Oh,
and that's where Rasmus Tiller was. And so in the end, Pithy jumped across on the penultimate sector because he had a teammate in front.
Soloed across
on the last sector, but nobody noticed in the peloton. And they came out, and then all of a sudden the peloton stops, and they're like, "Oh, where's that guy who's been pulling? Oh shit, he's in the front."
He's rode across.
And then everyone behind was just panicking.
He's such a beast.
It was such a good race to watch, and he managed. I mean, it wasn't their fault they were running out of guys because the stages are hard, but like he managed isolation like
extremely well.
So magnificent. Like it was so good. It was so impressive to watch. I was like, oh, now he's in trouble. You know, Rasmus Tiller waiting to go basically. And you got to hold him off and then do it. That's brilliant.
I'm glad we brought it up. I didn't know all this, so it's good to get that. You're giving me a race report. And look, last but not least, Trobro Leon was on last week, and we had our boys on the ground there. Stu and Harry were roadside for Life in the Peloton. Race Radio was there. Get across and listen to that. That is, they do an awesome job because there's a lot of stuff about that race I do not know. They do a great report about the race. It's one of those ones I'm glad I ticked off. Don't need to go back and do it again, but Durbs, you've missed it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
That's me, boys.
I watched the video.
All right. So let's jump straight into talking tactics thanks to Mitch's fantastic lead out. So I thought about this one for a while. At first, I was going to have a segment of, is the Giro rubbish? But I couldn't tell if I was being grumpy. The answer is yes, by the way, in case you guys were wondering. Not a fan of the foreign starts, not a fan of the logistics around all that travel, around riders getting sick, not a fan of the stage 6 finish, not a fan of a 245k stage up the blockhouse, which is all flat apart from the final climb. And.
Did you see Egan Bernal did this social media clip when he finds out how far away the bus is? Anyone see this?
Was it 20 odd K or something?
Yeah, it was 25k or something. He's like, what? And it took me straight back there. I'm like, oh yeah, of course it is. You know, everyone has had that multiple times in a single Grand Tour.
But I think the race also suffers from not having the best riders there. Like, remember when Pog was there and he won 6 stages? Now Jonas is there and he's going to win it at Cant. It's like cycling needs to have the best riders at the Giro. Whatever change in the organization or calendar or whatever it is, it could be so much better. And at the minute, it's like they drag in Vingegaard or Pog or whoever and probably pay them a load of money to come and do it. And it's one to tick off, but it's not standing alone as like a great race.
It's probably getting away with bullshit. If you put in all the good riders, they exposes them in a way that they can't do shit like that. Like, for example, it was a bit of a joke yesterday when Jonas went back to the car and said, this circuit's dangerous. Next minute, they just changed the rules, and then next minute, it's changed. It's just like, okay, we can't piss off Jonas because he's in the pink jersey and we want him to come back. and it's like,
Yeah.
but you just change the rules for everyone,
Yeah.
just like right there. Like I understand the circuit's bad, but you can't do that with like 40K to go. You know what I mean? It's just like it's a mess, and it's a mess on TV, and this is not the first time, like you said, Tom. It happens all the bloody time, the Giro.
But anyway, I'm not going to rag on the Giro.
There was
So,
a rank third then, Vuelta to a Giro in your mind. Vuelta's up there. When you say all that, Vuelta ticks those boxes.
Oh, that can be pretty guilty of some pretty dodgy stuff. No,
Oh, come on now.
staying in those truck stops. You ever stay in one of those truck stops there? You must have done. You must stay in those.
They're all right. I don't mind those.
All
right.
Anyway, instead, for my segment, I'm going to steal a phrase from my good friend, colleague, Andreas Clear, which he uses quite a lot. And that is, you cannot dance at 2 weddings at the same time. Now, I don't know if this is a German phrase, a Bavarian phrase, or just a Clearism, of which there is many. But he uses it a lot when we're talking about tactics and what we're doing, right? And I think in this Giro, we've seen quite a few cases of teams basically trying to dance at 2 weddings at the same time. So this is where it jumped out, because I was also thinking, you come up with the same thing, Mitch, is how the Unibet team's done so well. And then Durbo answered the question as to basically what they've done is they've said, right, there's 5 sprint stages. We're taking our best team to support our sprinter, and that's all we're going to do. And on the other days, they've chucked wild pals and some breaks, or it doesn't matter. They're going full gas for these stages, and they've nailed them. Visma are there to win the race with Jonas. They've got a team to do that, and that's all they're doing. But then other teams that are perceived to be having a bad race, I think genuinely it's because they're trying to do too much. So Trek's the clearest case, where they basically have Milan and they have his lead out guy, but they also have Derek G. They also have Ciccone. Ciccone sat in the GC until after Blockhouse for no reason, taking away 2 opportunities for breakaway stages. So it's like, at all points, you just don't have enough resources to pitch in for one thing. It's the same, like, if I want to be critical of your team, Durbo, it's like, why send Ackerman when you've got O'Connor? You know, you have to answer that question. It's just a hypothetical. Or, Picnic, they've got Van Uden. Like, just all you do is Van Uden on Van Uden days, right? Because he's a Giro stage winner, don't forget.
So I guess the answer to that is, Southam, is that, I saw that trend throughout my career, that it became that way pretty much from my whole career. And I was always pissed off about that, especially in Green Edge, that we'd be going with like 3 leaders and let's see what happens on the road type vibe, and then send like two, never go with a full leader team. My question, just quickly, is these teams are so scared of backing one opportunity that if it doesn't come off, like Van Uden, they could have gone there with a full sprint team and finished top 10s. You know what I mean? So they go in their own mind, isn't this true? You guys can tell me wrong. Well, maybe we get a top 10 with one lead out man, and maybe we get, a stage win with, Chris Harper. I mean,
but I think the answer for that also lies a little bit in the Giro not having the best riders, because if you don't have a better idea and the Tour comes along, you send your 8 best riders. If you don't have a better bet, like if you don't have like a specific, right, we're riding the podium for GC, you still send your 8 best riders. Whereas the Giro, you don't, because you can't, because of the way the calendar is, because guys are getting ready for the Tour.
Or you missed your classics as well. You've got some of you guys coming out of classic, you can't be ready for the Giro, something like that.
So it's not necessarily that so the teams have to make so many compromises when it comes to putting a roster together, that it's hard to then have the right guys to do that, because maybe they're just not available,
What's one team? Okay, Visma you mentioned, but another team in the Giro now that's come fully set up.
So Uno X have come for breaks. Like our team came for breaks, and it's like all we're doing is breaks. So every day,
but Bolocchi's riding GC.
Semi. I mean, but like
he's been riding GC from the start.
Yeah, but he's still far enough now that he can go into a break. I mean, I don't think he's been in a break in his life, but
Yeah.
I think that he could be far enough to go into a break.
Yeah.
But if he is doing GC, it's basically like him doing it without
own.
us
Yeah,
not sending guys down the road. Do you know what I mean? Or only sending 2 guys, because the breakaway days are now such high pressure to get into the break, and you've seen how long the fight takes. You can't do it with three guys. And
No, you
expect to
can't.
be in.
No, you really
You need to send 7 guys to go in the break, or 6, and that's how you end up getting 2 in, like Astana's race, right?
Unless you're UAE and you can just ride across.
Well, also, I don't know about you, Tom, but your tactics going into the tour last year, I would say it was all around breaks.
Yeah.
But
100%.
then next minute, because you've had that one clear mentality of like, this is what we're doing. And the way you guys race was like that. But then next minute, it was like, we're in the yellow jersey, and then now Healy's didn't go on for GC. And there was all these like knock-on effects by having just a clear one plan, and then everything else is a bonus. Like Carapaz winning a KOM jersey or something years before, like things like that. But you've just gone for like, this is what we're doing. And like, I don't know if we have split a lot of, obviously success at the tour is just like, you need to throw all your best riders at it. But I don't know if the teams have the same mentality about like success at the Giro. There might be like a couple of guys that you're trying to blood for the future, like just get them through the Grand Tour. We can't expect much of them because it's their first Grandy. But you can't throw them into the tour because it's too much. I've got a couple of guys so it doesn't really matter if they get 3 guys might be just experience. Then next minute you've lost 3 guys, you know who's going to go. And then sickness is a massive thing at the Giro too. So guys are just out because of the weather. Yeah.
But I mean, on paper, it's the second biggest stage race in cycling, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy to think of like how much of that influences. So, I mean, because the Rockets are doing one Grand Tour, right? So they've sent. It's really clear for them. The best guy's going to go. They don't have any complications of having to wait for guys for July.
They knew enough time before. Obviously
performing at a super high level, like fantastic.
I would love to see him win a stage.
I mean, it's just I find that whole thing, like the dynamic of the teams and what they're doing. I mean, even decathlon with Lund, right? I would have thought on paper he would have won a stage. They've also got Gal. So, like, what's...
Yeah, true.
Rewind, I guess, 12 months ago. That goes back to my initial question with Trek. So they went with Pedersen, Milan, Sturven. Ciccone was still there. I'd have to pull up the start list. But
he ended up crashing. He was riding GNC.
So would you argue they were there 100% for the sprints then? Because Pedersen was there, and now the removal of Pedersen, that is Milan not good enough to back?
I think there was probably more stages for Pedersen.
Yeah. Right.
But obviously...
Yeah. Pedersen was on some other level. He was like Navarro's situation. Like they could create... Pedersen could win from so many situations, and then they were creating these situations.
So did they go with a full back team for that one initiative?
I think when Pedersen's in a team, that's just what happens because of I would put him in one of the top 5 riders in the world. Whenever one of those guys are in the team, that's sort of where
he dictates the way a race goes. Because if they have a plan, it's going to be a sprint. He also fixes it to make sure it's a sprint. Or they want to put Ciccone in the break. He fixes it that it's going to be a break with Ciccone in it.
Exactly. Why do you think a team like Trek has gone with this tactic of, okay, we'll take 3 guys for the sprint, Consoni, Welshide and Milan. Then we'll take, Ciccone for breaks, and we'll take G for GC, Sombrero to do everything else.
Probably dictated by what else has to happen in the season, I would say.
Yeah.
Having, Pedersen's got to go to the tour. Okay. That takes that element away. Then we need this guy for this. You've got Ayuso riding around Andorra with, elastic bands around his brake levers or whatever.
If we, that's another story. But if we, for example, go back,
what is that story?
I was going to that.
What is that story? I was going to
ignore it. So I've heard. I don't know if you've heard the same story, Durbo, but I've heard rumors of him riding around on the downhills to get resistance with elastic bands on his brake levers.
No, I've got an air hub at my house. Come pick it up.
How many brake pads is he wearing through a day? Is that
Sounds like
true?
the most efficient way of doing it. I don't know if it's true. It's a good story.
It's a good story. That's a good story. I like it. I'll have to see if I can smell him around here. Just smell him coming down Kamea down the side of my house. Like, someone leading me. Yeah. But look, it would have been completely different, I think, if Milan was just faster. If Milan was just doing Magnier, just generally faster. I just don't. Magnier has just proven this Grand Tour just to be faster than Milan. I don't think it's to do with lead out. I don't think it's to do with this. It's just like if they all came to the same situation, they arrive at the same situation, I think Magnier is going to probably win. Then Groenewegen and Milan are going to be in for second. So, you know what I mean?
I love what you're getting at though, Tom, because I'm a big believer in like I said before, like throughout my career, I was always trying to push the angle of let's just go with a full blown lead out train and just wrap up sprints, let's go with a purpose rather than going with this half-assed 3 guys to help in the sprint and then jack of all trades to do the bits before and jack of all trades to help the GC guys in this mixed bag. I hate that. You feel like you got no purpose, but I love that where you're all in for the one goal, GC, sprint, whatever it is. So and again, obviously I'm more leaning to the Unibet Rose Rockets, what they're doing, because I love seeing the full team for that. So it's just interesting. I wanted to ask you that question about Trek. Why does a team of that, I guess, budget, what they've got, what they're spending on these riders, go with that makeup? Thinking, is it a thought that they can get it done with this limited sort of support and go, you know what, we can actually cash in here. We can get G top 3. We can get Ciccone, get a stage or 2. Milan will get the points jersey and a stage or 2. This is a great plan. This is a fantastic plan. But when it doesn't go right, they come under the scrutiny, because potentially on paper,
they end up
you
on
could
this podcast.
Yeah, you could say, on paper that could happen.
Yeah, but there is a point where if you go with the Grand Tour, we've got a Jumbo, we've got a Jumbo and a UAE, and you've got a Poggi and a Jonas. The theory is if you're going to go for GC, is that they're sending one GC team for that. So they're going to send a team that's going to be able to ride the climbs, ride all day on mountain stages, things like that. So even if you do send a team with not heaps of GC support, or you don't have the caliber in your team to support your GC guy, and your best option is a 5th or a podium, someone else is going to ride. Jumbo or UAE are going to ride for you, and they're just going to sit in the wheels, hold on for as long as they can. They get detached just towards the top. Boom, Bob's your uncle. They're riding away for podium. The team has not ridden once. Oscar Onley at the Tour, like they did an amazing ride, but he just sits there on the back of UAE for every day. No one rides. They don't have to push wind. It's like when Dumoulin was running second to Froome. He would just their team never rode 1 kilometer. He was just
you did it with Rigo when he was second to Froome. It's like basically sit behind Sky. I mean, we didn't have the team in the mountains to help him at all.
So we just there and get detached. So I guess if you think about it, like Trek's like, okay, well we can go with Milan. He can try and win the sprints. Derek G can just sit on the back of Jumbo and hopefully run a podium. And we don't have to ride once in the mountains. And Ciccone's there in case G's isolated. So there's one guy. Like that's sort of what maybe the thought.
Anyway,
anyway,
talking tactics, boys.
Good one.
It's interesting.
Hi guys, it's PeloChat. I thought I'd do a quick little segment on concussion. It's not a new thing, obviously. Crashing your bike, head injuries. Mitch, you've been privy to one of them or couple. So it's not a nice thing. But I've just sort of recently had a few teammates, had a few crashes, and just the length of time that it takes to come back to full capacity. And it's something that I reckon early on in my career we would have one, but we were sort of not really looked at that much. He sort of was like, yeah, if your headache subsides, go back to training, and then next minute you're back to racing. And if you really think back to a few things that I've had in my career, I'm like, yeah, okay, probably shouldn't have been racing, And I think there's a few of us here would be like, yeah, probably shouldn't have been racing. So now they're obviously having a concussion test on the roadside from when people crash, which is,
Are they?
yeah, but it's tricky because it takes so long. And if they are okayed, then next minute they're 2 or 3 minutes behind the bunch. And James Knox had this a couple of years ago at Two Down Under, and he had to do a concussion protocol. He said he was fine. Then it was 2 or 3 minutes, maybe even more behind the punch. So he was trying to get back behind the car to try and bring him back to the Peloton. And then they barraged him. They said he couldn't sit on the back of the car. So the next minute he abused the commissaire for...
Is that what he got thrown out of the race for?
He got thrown out of the race, which is completely unfair because
it's a 1-car convoy too, so it's a super short convoy.
And next minute, like he's
that's where they need to change. They need to have like a bar come out the window and you hang on like you're water skiing and you just get pulled back.
Yeah, well,
and a tribunal,
and a tribunal afterwards.
Quick interviews with everyone.
Jokes aside, because I have discussed this somewhere before. I can't remember if it was on this, but somewhere else, that if they had a concussion protocol and there was testing, there have to be a way to get back to Peloton time. You can't be, like NRL, they stop the game, they do a quick concussion protocol, they go off, the game comes on, you can come back on. You can't do that in cycling. You have to just get the motor pace back. That should be allowed.
It's a super tricky one, because you're literally throwing someone back in that potentially has a concussion into probably the most dangerous situation. Yeah. So if you're coming back behind a car at 80 k's an hour and you've had a slight head, and like this is where it's really tricky. You've come down, it's wet, crashed, hit your head. Guy's doing a concussion test on you. Next minute he's like, yeah, I think you're good to go. And you're like, sweet, good to go. Next minute you're holding onto the bottle of the car at 80 k's an hour in the piston wet, going through a convoy, and you're like, I think I'm good. I think it would be like highly stimulated, stressful situation that is something that needs maximum process speed. Anyway, it is one of those ones where I don't know about you, Southam, with your team, but it just can linger and linger and linger, and you have this. It's a really frustrating spot to be in as a rider, but also as a support staff, as a DS, as a coach, to try and push the athlete, not push the athlete, because the belief is like, I'm still having headaches. Like, yeah, I get that. Okay, you've had a big head injury, you got whiplash, whatever. But then it's like, how long does this go on for, and how long is this appropriate to go on for? Like Taco Vanderhoorn, I think he was off for 1.5 years. At one point, did the team go like, we were paying this guy for 1.5 years to recover from a head injury?
Well, I think now they're okay with that, but I think previously 5 years ago, teams would say that they put the pressure on, but because now in
1.5 years a long time, I don't know. Like, we've got a few riders.
If they've got the data to back it up,
you put it like this,
but there is no data. You don't. That's the tricky thing.
You can get scans.
You also can't sign another rider in the meantime. So if you were looking for a contract, Mitch, and like there was one job tied up by a guy, like, as a cyclist, how would you feel? Like, oh, fuck's sakes,
So anyway, we've got now going forward, we have a back to riding protocol that as soon as it happens, which is great. And I think everyone gets tested at the start of the season. So then when, if you have with your doctor baseline, what is your baseline? So if you started stupid, then you're still stupid after the crash. It's fine, but something like that. But anyway, it is just an interesting one because you do see some guys out and you don't know why they're out, and especially as a fan or whatever. But these things, from what I've seen, can last 2, 3, 6, up to a year long of just this battle to try and work out what it was. So at least they're looking into it. But it's always an interesting one.
Really good. Yeah, really interesting, Josh. Cool. Should we get at this quiz rocking and rolling?
All right, boys, I've got the quiz. So, in the spirit of old mate getting DQ'd at the Giro yesterday, I'll go back to a few true false Giro myths, dubious goings on. So first one, true or false? Russian rider Alexander Folfanov won the TT in 2026 Giro by holding on to a car. True or false?
False. True. Didn't win it.
He did win it, but
Yeah.
apparently it's false. According to so he recently got accused again in the media
I thought this was true.
of. So I mean, he came out and basically said no. Yeah, I caught an Uber up, so denied it. Other people can't quite believe it. I think it's a little bit of a mysterious stage win, popped out of nowhere. But I'm going to go with, for the quiz's sake, false. Okay.
Oh,
So one for Durbo. True or false? In the 1984 Giro, race organizer flew a Rai TV helicopter in front of French rider Laurent Fignon, as well as cancelled a mountain stage to make sure that Italian favourite Francesco Moser won the race. True or false?
true. That's got to be true.
That is true.
It is.
Yeah. It's a massive scandal. So they flew the helicopter behind Moser and the TT and in front of Fignon. And because Fignon was a better climber, they cancelled I think they took Stelvio out because they said, oh, no, it's snowing. And it wasn't. And basically, Fignon ended up losing it in the last.
What
TT.
hope
Didn't go
does
back
Giro
for-
have if this is what it's been going on for the last generations?
Yeah.
This is
So-
good.
How many Italian riders were disqualified from the under-23 Giro in 2023 for holding on to team
Oh,
cars?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
A,
Oh, sorry.
A, 4, B, 12, C, 24, D, 38.
24.
I was going to say 24, but I'll go with 38 then.
Durbo. There were 21 riders kicked out, 24 Italians. From the baby Giro, so where you learn, where you're supposed to be learning how to be a cyclist.
Have you seen the footage of that? It's fantastic.
What is it? Just like a car with like
It's a
riders hanging on
swarm of
onto
cars.
it?
Like I'm talking like you can't even see the vehicle, and it's just driving up the thing. And I'm like, this is a joke. Sure, this is a joke. And they're all holding onto each other. There's like people just like spectators just like filming these cars of just like kids just holding onto the. It's fun.
I remember my first experience in Italy. I wonder what yours was. We did Brixia tour, and when we got dropped because it was just ridiculously hard. It was even hard on the flat. I was happy when the climbs came because like, oh, I can finally just get dropped. And when we got dropped, motos would just come onto the course and look at you and go, "Hey, come on, grab onto my moto." There'd just be those random people, and you're like, "Oh, sweet!" You just grab onto a moto, some dude, and then Munners, my mate, would just be next to me on another moto. We all have a moto each, just getting towed up the hill. I'm like, what is this? Anyway.
So, no, true or false? In 1960, Gaston Nencini was pushed by spectators so much that he passed freewheeling Jacques Anquetil on the Gavia Pass, ended up just missing out on winning the Giro by 28 seconds.
False.
True.
It's true. So apparently the organizer said if he had won, they would have DQ'd him. He didn't win, so he was freewheeling past Anquetil, basically because he was being pushed so much by spectators.
Fair play by the pushers. That's brilliant.
Yeah, they were out and it was part of the plan. So,
Durbo, you're 3-1 up.
3-1.
true or false? Former Australian champion Russ Van Hout once completed part of a stage of the 2005 Giro in an ambulance before remounting, finishing in last place overall in the Giro.
True.
I want that to be true.
No, it's false. No. I couldn't do that to the Rustler if it was true. I would not have put that question in.
That was very much in the whole protocol.
Who got it?
Like, it could be
Did
false.
you get that?
No,
Or did you
we-
both say it was true?
Both
No, we both said it was true.
Poor old Russ. Shows what you think of him. So Last place in the Giro. This is off the true false. The Magnier, the Giro's symbolic Lanterne Rouge, is the prize for last place in the Giro. It was given out as a prize, but how many times was it actually given out as a jersey at the race? A, 23, B, 6, C, 12, or D, none?
I say none, D.
6.
Durbo.
Oh,
Big
6
guess.
times.
Big guess.
But it's been called that ever since, and it's,
that's... I love
last
that.
place wide.
You had to wear a jersey.
Shame.
But it apparently it got so ridiculous with how hard they were cheating to come last, like messing with people's material, like all sorts of stuff, hiding in cafes, all that sort of stuff. That it had to get.
Was there no time cut
actual
then?
price. No, there was no time cut.
Yeah, we had one in the.
Do you remember that? Yeah.
Maybe the Giro. Roger Klug and old mate got fined for track standing on the line, like against each other because they were waiting for time cut to tick over and like just make it over. So they go to the line, they held onto the barricade, and they were just like, "Who's got bigger nuts to roll across the line at like 1 second to go?" They both got fined for, obviously taking the piss.
What did
So,
they actually get fined for though?
Yeah,
think it
you
must
not the spirit of
or-
you're basically ruining the image of the sport.
Yeah.
That's fine for that. Signature jerseys. What color was KOM jersey before it was blue? A shout out.
It was red.
Yellow.
It was green.
Oh, yeah, because Lloydie had it.
Yeah.
The sprint jersey was red. The sprint jersey was
No one
red.
got that. So back to the 2005 Giro of Russ Van Aert era. Which Australian won the prologue and how long was it?
Brett Lancaster, 1.1K.
Oh, true. Nice.
Mitch, 2 points for that.
Nice.
Very well done. Which Australian was dead last in that prologue?
Dave McKenzie.
No, he didn't ride that year.
Oh.
Was it?
Russ Van Aert.
Was it Brownie?
You're close with Russ Van Aert. You're not. Close
Oh,
with Brownie.
you know who it was from Sydney. Oh, he rode on the same team as Van Hout.
Yep. Come on, Mitch. There's a point here.
I can't think of his name. Damn it.
Sydney.
Both in Selitalia.
Yeah, he's
It
going to kill me.
It was Trent Wilson.
Trent Wilson. Damn it. It was on the tip of my
17
tongue.
seconds.
Sorry, Willow. Forgot. Couldn't remember your name.
So, last question. Hang on, I can't let's see what the score is, if there's any jeopardy. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Durbo. Mitch is on 3, so you can tie scores here, Mitch.
Right.
Which Italian rider rode their first Giro in 2005 and their last Giro in 2024?
Positivo.
It's a Sky Rider. Oh, Positivo. He's coming
Well,
back.
you don't know he's coming back, so it might be one more.
Oh, yeah. Rode his most recent Giro in 2024.
Boys, it's been a good one. It's been a long one. I hope everyone's in the spirit of the Giro, the third best Grand Tour, behind, of course,
I think we can agree on that.
the Vuelta and the Tour. Boys, always good to chat to you. Look out,
Wait a minute,
everyone.
which one did I have to argue for in that pod?
The Vuelta.
I feel like I had the Giro. I feel like you have Vuelta, Durbo was Tour, and I ended up with the Giro.
Yeah, you're a
I had to
Giro man.
basically say it was the best.
You're
Grand
just a
Tour.
general Grand Tour hater, Tom. Can't wait to
Just like
Tour.
4 days of Dunkirk. I just like the 4 days of Dunkirk. That's all I want to do. It's 5 days long, but
Business hater.
Hey, next week, Southam and I doing our own mini one-stage Giro on the indoor trainer on TrainingPeaks Virtual. Big shout out to those guys at TrainingPeaks. Big supporter, our exclusive partner here. And of course, look out. We've got a emergency pod coming to you very soon as well, guys. So until then, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
tutti.
Subways.